Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and Dragons Dogma 2. Today I've got a rather specific guide for you. One of the most unique sections of the game, this two-part encounter with the Sphinx. Said to be one of the optional great bosses of the game, but with a very cool twist. It's not a boss fight exactly, it's a series of riddles and challenges, though it still ends in a bit of a boss fight. In any case, what we're talking about is well worth the effort. You'll get, say, over 100,000 gold and a variety of powerful unique items, like an arrow that can kill anything in the game in one hit, and I'll show it in this video. But why is a guide needed for something like this? Well, it's because it's extremely unforgiving. You must complete 10 riddles and then face the Sphinx yourself, which in itself has a trick to it. And if you fail at different steps during it, that could very well spell the complete end of the trial for this entire playthrough. It'll just be over. I strongly suggest you watch this guide pretty much in full and consider what you might need beforehand and what you might expect during to protect yourself from that. Now, with all that said, here's my complete guide to the Sphinx with some particularly helpful tips for the riddles that solve things as effectively and as easy as possible, because trust me, you can make this a lot harder than it needs to be. To get started though, I need to tell you where to find the Sphinx, and it's not actually where I'm standing because there's two locations and this is just where it ends. The first location where you'll first meet the Sphinx is here in the mountain shrine, which if I zoom out you can see is just northeast of the border town of Checkpoint Rest. There's a large battleground here called the Ancient Battleground, and if you follow the main path up, you'll find this kind of ruined wall and building. By passing through there, you'll eventually come out to the top after climbing a couple ladders, where you'll encounter this Cyclops sleeping. Up behind him is a ladder that goes to World's End Cavern. Passing through there, you'll exit, and now there's a rock golem. After defeating that through the ancient ruins, you'll pass through the shrine corridor and make your way to the mountain shrine, where we begin this journey. To start with, in this first location, we're going to have to beat 5 riddles before then the Sphinx moves. After every riddle is solved, you get a reward. But one thing you need to think about while you're going is what riddle you're currently on and how many have you solved so far. There's 10 total, and halfway through you'll be doing them in different order to me because it's RNG. Once you hit that point, one of the riddles is going to ask you how many have you solved so far. So you need to keep a track of how many riddles have you solved at each and every point. Okay, so the pre-warnings are now done. Let's do the 5 riddles in this location and we can choose what order to do. I'm going to go from top to bottom as presented though. First we have the riddle of eyes, which is extremely easy. The idea here is that eyes deceive you. You know, maybe what's right in front of you isn't what you're looking for. What you need to do is turn around and go to the room that she's unlocked as directed. And as you enter, you're going to be looking for the most valuable item in there. Well, as you entered, you can literally turn around and look up, and there's a chest right above the entrance. Inside is a sealing vial, and its purpose is to take someone and place it within there, like a gin lamp or something. And that could be useful in different quests. It would be used in this, but we're going to skip all that because I have some tricks. In any case, take that vial to the Sphinx, hand it in, and that's the first trial done. Easy. Moving on to riddle 2, we have the riddle of madness. Straight to the point. You must bring someone who's considered your most beloved. But what the Sphinx actually asks for is your beloved. The idea and obvious solution is to bring someone you've earned great trust with or romanced. That could be a variety of NPCs that are now willing to do escort quests with you. Instead of doing the escort, you could just bring them here. Or you could grab them and teleport them or put them in that vial. But the easiest way to do it is simply grab all 3 of your pawns and put them on the pedestal to present to the Sphinx. That is way less effort than going anywhere else or looking for relevant NPCs. After all, you've been traveling with your pawns this whole time, and for many of us, this answer is true. They're the most important people to us in this game. Next up, we have the third riddle. This is the riddle of wisdom. Here's a weird one for you, but it's simple if you know what you're doing. To solve it, you need to bring a specific pawn, known as the Sphinx parent. Apparently, that could be, say, father or mother, but for me, it was just parent, and these pawns are created by Capcom for this exact quest. And then rather than having to blindly search for them, thankfully, you can go pick it up in a specific place, in Harve Village, which is just west of Vernworth. At the entrance of Harve Village is a Riftstoner Fellowship, and that's where you get the Sphinx parent pawn. In fact, when I went there, it's the only pawn offered within, so it's hard to miss. You'll need to recruit them and have them in your party, and of course I knew this going in, so I actually recruited them beforehand, so they were here with me from the very start. In any case, present the parent pawn to the Sphinx, and that's the riddle solved. Okay, so almost done with this location. We now have riddle 4, the riddle of conviction. Very simply, the Sphinx just wants an item, and that can be any item. But as the riddle suggests, you're gonna have to give it up, it's gonna be gone. The reality is you're not only going to get the item back in the chest as a reward, but you're not even going to give up the one that you're holding, which means you're able to duplicate whatever you give here, even unique items, high value items. So it's very worth giving something you really care about because you're going to get 2 out of it instead of 1. For me, I used a port crystal so that I have more to teleport around the world with, but whatever you choose to give, you're going to get back, and it can be anything, so very easy. Finally, for this location, we have Riddle 5, the Riddle of Rumination. This is going to be the last riddle here though, so I need to warn you that when we complete this, the Sphinx is going to leave and go to a second final location. Now you can just let her go and claim your rewards in the 5th chest, which is going to be 3 warp stones, or when she's going to leave, you can run up and leap onto her and let her fly you straight to the second location. That is way more convenient, and you can always come back and claim that final reward of the warp stones anyway, or if you really want to stay and get those warp stones, you can go to the second location manually, and I'll tell you where very shortly. Okay, so Riddle 5. You now have 7 in-game days to solve this one, so definitely get to it. For this riddle, you're being asked to go to your first Seeker token location. Wherever the first one you picked up on this character and saved was, you need to return there. And that is completely up to you, I'm afraid. So you're going to have to consider where you first found the Seeker token and go to that place. Instead of a Seeker token, you'll now find a Finder's token in its place. This unique item can now be taken to the Sphinx, and that just solves the 5th riddle. I made this easy for myself by placing a port crystal to teleport straight back to, but with the 5th one complete, the Sphinx is going to fly away to the second location as I warned. Jump on and let it carry you there, or just let it go. Alright, so our second location for the Sphinx is the Frontier Shrine, which is where I'm standing right now. If I zoom out on the map, you can see that it's actually just west of the checkpoint rest town. To get to it, you just need to go under this bridge and follow the water. This river will lead you all the way down, and you can cut off the path and come to the shrine where the Sphinx is now waiting. Fair warning, you don't want to come at it from the desert region because it's kind of like uphill waterfall you cannot climb. In this location, I strongly recommend you place a port crystal. It's going to be relevant to not 1, but 2 riddles we're going to do. Also, at the end of this second trial, you will have to fight the Sphinx, who can run away if you attack her wrong too much. I will explain that, but be prepared that during one of these riddles, you're going to get an arrow of unmaking, which allows for instant killing. So if you bring an archer or a warfarer who can swap to a bow, if something goes wrong, you can choose to instantly kill her with that arrow, which is what happened to me, but I will explain how to avoid that. Now it's time for more riddles. At this point, it begins in a random order. So I'm going to describe all of them, and you'll just complete them in whatever order they're giving to you. Now, riddle number 6 is actually completed when you arrive here. By finding her again, that's the trick here. That was the 6th riddle. So you can actually go open a chest now right behind her, and in it is that hefty 100k gold, which is fantastic. But this counts as riddle number 6. So at that point, you have completed 6 riddles. When she asks you the riddle of recollection, the Sphinx will ask you, how many riddles have you completed so far? So if the Sphinx asked you that immediately, you'd be on riddle number 7, but at that point, you've only completed 6, so your number would be 6 in that case. For me, the Sphinx asked me on the 9th riddle, so at that point, I'd completed 8 riddles. All you have to do to tell the Sphinx what number you think is pick up the statues on the left, move them in front of her, and then just say, this is the number. So you will have to pay a little bit of attention, but I've tried to give you as much warning on that as I can. Let's move on to another potential riddle you'll get, the riddle of contest. This is really easy. You're given a ring that's forced on you, and it makes you deal basically no damage. The Sphinx spawns an enemy, and the idea is to defeat it, but instead of slowly fighting it with tiny damage, just grab them and throw them off the side and have gravity do the work. It's very easy. The remaining 2 riddles are more complicated, so let's first start with a riddle of futility. During this riddle, the Sphinx will give you a vase to carry. The concept is to take this vase all the way to a specific NPC marked on your map. That will be found in Back Batal, the city in the desert region, in a location called the Mural Byway, right above the Pilgrim's Inn. The NPC you need to take the vase to is called Maritz, but the thing is, that's way too much effort. The vase is annoying to transport, and if it breaks, it's GG. So instead of doing that, bring Maritz to the vase. So like I said, you put a port crystal down at the second trial location, so you can just instantly teleport using a ferry stone. Now you go to Back Batal, you go to the NPC above the Pilgrim's Inn, and grab him. And then while holding him, use a ferry stone, and it will bring you back to the Frontier Shrine. You will teleport with him still grabbed, and then you can place him next to the vase, and he'll realize and go, oh, riddle solved. Technically, you could maybe put him in that vial item from earlier, but there's just no need. This just works. But lastly, there was one more riddle that you're going to have to complete at some point in this order of riddles, and that's the riddle of differentiation. You'll be shown this ghostly image of a rather ugly NPC who you're meant to find and bring back here. Naturally, there's two NPCs in the game that look almost identical. The difference between them is the type of hair they have and the scar on their eye. I recommend you take a screenshot or a video when you're shown the image of the one you need so you can be certain. But it's going to be either Dante or Virgil. If you open the menu, go to history, NPC logbook, you can go look at a picture of Dante and Virgil if you've met them. This can help you choose which one you actually need to bring. The difference is basically one has wavy hair and a scar that goes away from his nose, where the other one has straight hair and a scar that's completely vertical. You'll find one of them on the south side of the border gate, the checkpoint town, whereas the other is in Back Batal. So whichever one you need, go find them, go grab them, and then while you're grabbing them, you can use a fairy stone again to teleport straight back to the shrine with them in hand. Present their ugly mug to the Sphinx, you'll have it compared, and then hopefully with the one that's correctly brought, you'll complete the trial. With that, you've now solved 10 riddles, and the Sphinx will congratulate you and say, alright, cool, I'm out of here. Obviously, there's still the big chest that's not been opened yet, and that's because the Sphinx is wearing that key, which means you must defeat the Sphinx. Before it can leave, you need to attack it. Now, if you were looking at the vase you had to safeguard, or the various mural walls, say the first shrine, you can see images of how the body is being attacked, the chest and the head are left alone. That's the riddle here. You need to avoid attacking the Sphinx on the chest or the head, attacking its kind of back, limbs and body. Seemingly where the jewelry is hanging is where the weak spots are. If you do enough damage without hurting the chest or the head, the Sphinx will approve as if you've beaten a final riddle and then kind of disintegrate and give you the key. Now, alternatively, if you mess this up, the Sphinx is going to try run away and you'll lose your chance. If that happens, like I said, to prepare you, you could use the arrow of unmaking that we got in these trials as an alternative, more risky method. I was trying not to hit the chest or the head and apparently hit it a little bit, and that was too much. So I just pulled out the arrow and killed the Sphinx before it could get away. But if you take your time and don't rush it, you can deal pathetic damage to the tail until it's dead. There's no reason to risk it. With that though, you should have the key to the final chest, and inside is a more potent wake stone called the Eternal Wake Stone. It lets you revive multiple people at once, rather than one wake stone, one person, which is a bit niche, but hey, it's still a good reward. But yeah, that's the Sphinx and the 2 full trials explained. Some serious rewards there, like high value items, and even 100k gold, because why not? So it's certainly worth doing and a pretty fun quest to follow. It is a shame that if you make a mistake at any point, it's just kind of it, GG, which is awkward for a trial like this, but I do hope this guide can help you prevent those types of mistakes, and if it did, do drop a like. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.